She actually struggles to understand God as well because she's a very concrete thinker. She's like a scientist, mathematician, and she can't see or touch God, so she doesn't know how to, as a machine, she would take apart and disassemble and understand. She can't do that with God. So she struggles through most of the book to figure out where he fits in the world and how to understand him.
We'll talk about this and much more today. Welcome to a Writer's Day podcast. Hey everyone, welcome back to a Writer's Day podcast. I'm Ruth Douthit, an award-winning multi-published author of books for kids and adults in fiction and nonfiction. And I welcome you to a Writer's Day because I started this podcast for you, folks who want to learn more about the writing craft and hear from your favorite published authors, award-winning, best-selling authors like my guest today. So welcome. And if you like what you hear, please consider subscribing and following me, and head over to my website at artbyruth.com to sign up for my newsletter because I've got big news coming up. I'm going to be revealing the title of my next suspense book, the sequel to Fatal Chapters. That's coming up for now. So head over to my website, Art by Ruth, to sign up for my newsletter, to be privy to all this upcoming information, and to win a free book. That's right, I give away a free book every month. And you will also receive a free PDF copy of my short story support group, which is a interesting, mysterious, science fiction type short story that gives you a sample of my writing style. So head over to artbyruth.com today. And I'm so excited. A Writer's Day podcast is a finalist in the SELA Awards, the 2025 SELA Awards. And so I'm so excited about that news to share with you. And it's an honor. And I thank all of you, my listeners. And I also thank my amazing author guests for being on here. And it's such a privilege and an honor to be nominated as a finalist in the SELA Awards. So thank you so much. Okay, now let's get started. She is a novelist of gripping novels that have been captivating readers for years with her amazing characters, mysterious, unique settings, pitch-perfect romance, and plenty of gothic flair. Joanna Davidson Politano is here with me today to talk about her new book, The Curious Inheritance of Blakely House, set in the Edwardian era. And I'm telling you, once you hear this story, you are going to be amazed. It is one of the most unique story ideas I've heard. So you know the drill. Grab your favorite beverage, a comfortable chair, kick back and relax as we listen to Joanna tell us about her new book. Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm super excited to have Joanna Davidson Politano with me again. I think this is like our third interview about your amazing book, so welcome back.
Thank you. I'm really honored to be here.
Sure. I remember our first interview, you had your newly born baby boy on your lap.
Yeah, that sounds about right. He attended all my interviews for a while.
It was so sweet because I could hear him cooing in the background. Now, how old is he?
He's 3.5, and thinks he's an adult.
Yeah, pushing the boundaries, right?
Oh, yes.
That's awesome. Well, so tell my listeners, what have you been up to since our last interview?
Well, my personal life is full of homeschooling. I've got 3 kids, and we work really hard on that. Otherwise, I've been playing around with some nonfiction. I've been playing around with magical realism and all sorts of different writing projects just for fun and a kid's book. Just kind of dabbling around, trying to stretch different writing muscles.
Ooh, you're starting to sound like me. I do that too. Nonfiction, what nonfiction book are you working on?
I started working on something that, I don't know, God just sort of invited me into it. And it's like chapter by chapter, when he gives me something new, I start writing. And it's about like the mental health side of writing and of being an
Mm.
author and all that goes into it.
Wow. So like how it makes you mentally ill or
Oh, I guess just how it affects your heart in ways that you don't expect and how to deal with that.
That's true. I have found after experiencing so much grief and loss the last 9 years that my writing has really helped me in a therapeutic way.
Oh, yes, it's so good at that, isn't it?
And I've talked to other authors who recently lost loved ones, and it's the same thing. They've chosen to write about loss in their fictional books, but kind of taking from their own personal grief journeys. And
Hmm.
so I always ask them, has that helped you cope with your grief? And they always say, yes, it really does. So I think that's great that you're tapping into that.
Yeah.
I think that the fine arts are really important to help us get through different, facets of life. I'm an artist and an author, but I know you do music too, right?
Yes, I play the piano.
And that helps you, right?
Oh, it's so cathartic. It's enough brain power to keep me in tune with it, but not enough that I have to struggle.
That's how it is with my art as well. I've been doing it for so long that now it's just like medicine for me, you know?
That's beautiful. That's such a gift.
Mm. Writing, on the other hand, is work. I have to admit, I'm not one of those authors who can just sit and write an award-winning book. I have to really work at it. But it's also been very helpful too, to write about these characters enduring, and
Mm,
still being resilient and hoping and getting to the end of their journey, no matter what comes their way. That helps me in my
hmm.
life too. So,
There's something about wrapping words around experiences to help us pin them down a little bit better, I think.
yeah. And there's power in expressing ourselves too.
Mm, yeah.
Well, that's great. Good luck on that project.
Thank you.
And then a kid's book, that's right up my alley. That's how I got started with writing for kids. So, what's this about?
Well, I started writing it for my middle child, my son, who's just this sensitive soul, and he was just beating himself up over some things, and I wanted to tell him things, but you know how like if you tell your kid something directly, it goes in one ear and out the other. Yeah, yeah, that's mom saying it.
Mm.
But if I wrap it up in a story, it gets through a little better. So this is a steampunk superhero Victorian era type story, about three different kids, and they all have like a giant deficit in their life, and then they all have like this giant strength.
Mm. Wonderful. And so you're going to use it as a way to help your son cope and to like inspire him?
Yes, he's actually helping me write it, and the things that
Hey,
he's coming up with are pretty amazing.
that is so cool. I love that. A mom and son project. That's amazing.
It's
Now,
a lot
since
of
you
fun.
now you homeschool your kids, but are any of them expressing an interest in writing?
A little bit. My son, who I'm working on this book with, he's told me he wants to be an author someday, so that we can write together because he really likes that. Whether or not it happens, I don't know, because he also said that, he wanted to be Spider-Man. So, um, and then my oldest, who just turned 11 this month, I don't know if she loves it enough to become an author as a profession, but I've been giving her like daily writing prompts just to get her freely writing, and she really gets into those. Like she gets so creative and she just loves it. She gets into the stories and the poems and artistically designing embellishes around it. It's pretty neat.
Oh, that's a great assignment. I love that.
Yeah. Well, she enjoys it, so that helps.
Yeah, as long as they're enjoying it, and hopefully as they get older, they'll see that it doesn't always have to be work.
Mm.
Whenever I go talk to students in schools about writing, I ask them to raise their hand. How many of you like writing? And none of them raise their hand. And I say, how many of you like reading? And all these hands go up, and I told them,
Mm.
I get it. Writing is work. You have all these
It
essays and
is.
book reports. I get it. I do. But you can always write for fun too.
Yeah, and my goal is to get her like writing so regularly that it's not so difficult. It's not such this like huge hurdle that she has to overcome because she does it every day.
Good point. And I always tell the students I talk with, I know you're told to read something every day, but you will write something every day for the rest of your life, whether it's an email or I'm sorry,
Mm.
an email, a text, a memo, something, you're going to be writing something. And so,
Absolutely.
yeah, if it becomes an easy skill right now, then you'll do well. And when
Yes.
I say that, they usually look at me like, really? Because they're seventh, eighth graders getting ready for high school and college. So
Mm-hmm.
I always tell them, yeah, what your teachers are teaching you right now, it's not wasting your time. Trust me.
Oh no. Fastest way to sound intelligent, learn how to write well.
Let's talk about your new book, The Curious Inheritance of Blakely House. This sounds fascinating. Tell us about this story.
This was such a fun book. I decided to venture into something a little new. My husband's been kind of on the sidelines of my book career all this time. He's an engineer. He has zero interest in writing,
Hmm.
um, but a lot of interest in like spending time together. So I sat down and I said, okay, tell me how alternating current works. He lit up, and 2 hours of conversation took place after that. And just,
Wow.
getting into that, I was like, okay, I'm going to write a book that's about something in engineering. So there's not a lot of engineering detail in the story at all.
Mhm.
It's more of an Alice in Wonderland meets steampunk. Like the heroine goes into this house that she inherits. This is great big mansion, and it's all powered by hydroelectricity, which is water pressure. And this is
Mhm.
based on a true house that exists. And there's all these really cool things like doors that open and close on their own, an automatic dishwashing machine, just random gadgets that were never finished, clocks that were remade to do something different, all sorts of cool things that just fires up her imagination. So again, I don't get into too much of the technical stuff, but I did have my husband work with me to make sure what I had was accurate.
Ooh, that sounds amazing. And so, what year does this take place in?
I think it was about 1903,
Okay.
1901 or 1903, something like that. So
Okay.
it's very early 20th century.
Nice. And so, your main character, Sydney Forrester, she's a
Mhm.
clockmaker and she likes to like tinker with things. How did you come up with the idea for this character?
Well, my husband can fix anything that has moving parts. Anything that he can physically look at, take apart, and put back together, he will understand how it works. And he doesn't understand why this is difficult for anybody else, like the creative types who just kind of, have no clue. So I kind of patterned the character after the way he thinks and one of my engineering type sons thinks. And it was fascinating to put this into a girl, though, because at the time it was not very common for a girl to be repairing clocks and mechanical things. So that was really fun, but that was where she came from.
Oh, nice. And so, these particular technical skills that she has, did you have to do a lot of research about them?
I did. I read a lot of manuals
Mm.
from that were written back in the Edwardian period, so that I could see how they explained things and how they thought about things and their understanding of the world. I also just asked my husband a lot of questions. And he went out and bought like a hydraulics Lego kit to show me things, and it was very helpful. But I had this book that I got for free that was Failed Edwardian Inventions.
Oh,
So much fun. They actually made eyeglasses for horses. Thought that was really cool. It did not take off, but there was probably like hundreds and hundreds of inventions that never got off the ground. And so a lot of them I put into this house, and I used those as my research.
that is so neat. But what's the plot though? I mean, she inherits this house. It's full of all these unusual, inventions and things. But what's the actual plot of your story?
Should probably get to that too. Yes. So she inherits this house. She doesn't know much about her family of origin because she's raised by her aunt. So she gets there, and everyone thinks that she has killed this distant uncle to get the inheritance. They have
Mm.
no idea why he left it to her. Um, and everybody who works in this house is a shipwrecked seaman of some kind, like a sailor or an adventurer or something like that. And they've all crash landed and been kind of healed and brought back to health by this former owner. So they're extremely loyal. So
Mm.
this is a problem. And then she finds out that she has two cousins who also believe that they have valid claim on this house by a letter or a partial will or something like that. And so they're all kind of vying for it. She invests herself a lot into trying to keep the house financially afloat, and the gadgets and inventions that he has patented. And she tries to finish some of his most important works. There's an automaton and things like that. Meanwhile, there is the butler of the house is she thinks of him as a pirate. He's a former adventurer, and he's been grounded. He doesn't like being there, and he's not sure what to think of her because everybody thinks, of course, that she's responsible for killing the owner.
Mm.
Um, but he's a little bit nicer to her than everybody else. So they kind of form a tenuous relationship. And then about halfway through the book, they decide to go out and figure out what happened to the former owner. They get on his ship, which he's rigged up with some hydraulics, and they take off. And it becomes really fun at that point.
Oh, neat. So this does have like a steampunk kind of feel to it, very adventurous, almost like
Yeah.
80 Days Around the World or whatever that book was. I forget.
Yeah,
Kind of
yeah, a
cool.
little bit. It's not as much on the technical side. It's definitely more of a story than it is like a technical manual or
Sure.
anything like that. But it does definitely have a steampunk vibe.
That is so different for you. I love that.
It was
Now,
fun.
is
There's
there,
also the love stories,
I was gonna say, is
the
there a
main
romance?
heroine, and then of course she discovers that the uncle who was killed also had a pretty amazing love story that never panned out. So she kind of has to wrap up the loose ends of that and figure out what happened there, which that was really fun to write too.
Wow, it's almost like a Netflix series type of thing. You know, you've got one story, then it breaks off into another story, and then another. It just goes deeper and deeper and deeper. That is so cool.
Well, they kind of run parallel, so that does help to give it some cohesiveness.
Hmm. So the estate was kind of expected to go to someone else, and all of a sudden, the uncle threw a wrench into everything, and it goes to her. Do you hint as to, maybe the workers in the house kind of knew who it was going to go to? Did they expect it to be someone else?
They had heard her name because at
Mm.
the end of his life, the last thing that he did was he was going to go meet the distant niece that he was going to leave the house to, and that's the trip he never came back from. So that's why everybody thinks she killed him. And so when they hear her name when she first shows up, they're just like, "Uh-oh, no, we can't let you stay."
Ah, okay. There's that conflict. Now, the setting of the story is not just the house, but it's an island. Tell us a little bit about how the island contributes to the plot.
So the former owner and also actually the main character who tries to inherit the house are a little bit of like social loners because they have this amazing, brilliant mind, but they don't know how to socialize very well. So they're kind of islands, both of them. And so it kind of symbolizes that. It's based on a group of islands off the coast of Northumberland called the Farne Islands, and I kind of based it on one particular one where there's a few houses on it. But I pretty much just made it up and allowed it to be symbolic in the plot.
Sure. Oh, that's great. I love it when the setting ties to the characters in the book. I think that's great. So, had you ever been to these islands off of Northumberland?
I have not, unfortunately, I've
Mm.
been to England. I've been to kind of near Northumberland, but I've never actually been to the Farne Islands.
Ooh, neat. That's definitely in your future then, right? To see if you got it
Yes.
right. That's great. Well, so what are some of the themes that are running through your story, The Curious Inheritance of Blakely House?
Well, I've kind of alluded to this before, but Sydney, the main character, just feels like she's broken. She feels like there's something that's not quite right about the way she was put together. And she kind of feels like she fits in at this house of like random, chaotic, crazy inventions because it's like the inside of her mind. It's very scattered. Today we would call it ADD distracted type,
Hmm.
where her brain goes in 50 different directions at like 100 miles an hour, and there's like 100 browser windows open on her computer. Um, so she always feels like this clock that was put together wrong. And she finds clocks at this house, and she finds that the inventor has taken them apart and put them back together as something else, as a compass that can go on a ship or as, some unique thing that can cast a holographic light or something like that. And so she kind of has to come to terms with the fact that she isn't really broken, but she's kind of put together for a different purpose.
Kind of like how we are all broken vessels mended by God, right?
Yes, exactly. She actually struggles to understand God as well because she's a very concrete thinker. She's like a scientist, mathematician, and she can't see or touch God, so she doesn't know how to, as a machine, she would take apart and disassemble and understand. She can't do that with God. So she struggles through most of the book to figure out um, where he fits in the world and how to understand him and how to actually have a relationship with him as her personality.
Oh, that's beautiful. It's kind of like a childlikeness. Children are like
Yes.
that too, where it's hard for them to imagine
Yes.
God or prayer or heaven, because they're so concrete.
Hmm.
So that's neat. So you're making her come to that realization that you can believe in the abstract.
Yes. She finds concrete ways to believe in the abstract.
There you go. That's wonderful. And so The Curious Inheritance of Blakely House releases April 15th, and it's available for pre-order right now, correct?
Yes.
Fantastic. And so folks can go order it on Amazon, but also will they get a deal through the publisher?
If you go to Baker Bookhouse, I think you get a decent percentage off. I can't remember if it's 30 or 40% and free shipping.
Hmm.
And there are some little extras. I know that last time I heard they were running low. Those are almost gone, but they come with stickers and signed book plates and bookmarks and things like that.
Nice. It's always best to go there. Yeah, I think it is 40% off with free shipping. That is the best place to go pre-order your books. I know
Yes,
I'm going to
that's my
pre-order.
favorite.
Yeah, I'm going to pre-order this one. This sounds amazing. Well, so what's next? What's coming next for you?
Um, it's a little undefined at the moment, but I am currently working on a story set in Cornwall.
Ooh, okay. And is it going to be your typical romance or steampunk again? Or
No steampunk aspect in this one. But yeah, a lot of my typical, but a little bit of split time. Both historical
oh,
timelines, but two different stories running parallel.
okay. What timelines?
I have 1947, so post World War II, and 1913, so just before the
Wow.
First World War.
Oh, wow. That's intriguing for folks like me who are history buffs. I love that. Those are two amazing eras. Very different,
Yes.
yet they have some commonalities as well. Ha,
Yes.
interesting.
They have a setting in common. That's about it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, so how can your readers get in touch with you?
I am on Instagram and Facebook under my author name. The best way is my newsletter, which you can sign up for at jdpstories.com, my website. I also host a reader group on Facebook called Once Upon a Story.
Oh, nice. Very nice. Okay, listeners, make sure you head over to Facebook and to sign up for Joanna's newsletter because that's the best place to find out about your upcoming projects, right?
Absolutely.
And wow, you've got a kids book, a nonfiction book coming up, and this one timeline book with World War One and World War Two. So yeah, a lot is coming up for Joanna. So make sure you head over to her newsletter at jdpstories.com. Joanna, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy homeschooling mom and writer life to chat with us about what's going on. I appreciate it.
Oh, it was my pleasure. I appreciate you having me on.
That was so amazing. I have yet to hear such an original story concept as that. The Curious Inheritance of Blakely House. Wow. Joanna's amazing. I just love her stories. So be sure and sign up for her newsletter to hear more about these upcoming projects and head over to Baker House to pre-order this amazing book coming out from her belt real soon. I hope that you've been inspired too by Joanna's story and that how she tapped into her husband's knowledge, of engineering, and that inspired her. And I hope that you've been encouraged to look for those inspirations, for your stories everywhere, out in nature, on vacations, talking to people about their jobs. Find that inspiration anywhere and keep going on your writing journey because even a whimsical, steampunk story like this has a message of hope for all of us. And so That's why you need to keep writing your story. Someone out there needs to read your story, your message of hope for them. And until next time, thanks for listening. God bless.